pulled up. You mentioned Michael Jordan practicing with the Bobcats at the time. You got to go into that one for me because, we're coming off The Last Dance, the ESPN documentary. Everybody wants the MJ stories. Talk to me about knowing MJ and, him in those practices with you guys.
So he practiced multiple times. The one that comes, the one that I saw, the Michael Jordan that we all have seen in the documentary in the last few years, it was when we practicing and we going through a rough patch, Steven Jackson, and we had a pretty good team that year. Steven Jackson, Boris Dia, and Joe Wallace were the veterans along with myself, but I'm towards the end of my career, so I wasn't playing as much. Practicing to help these guys get better, and Michael decided to jump in. And then not only that, he says, Charles Oakley, come on my team. So they jump on the same team with Joe Wallace, with Joe Henderson and somebody else. I don't remember the other player. Of course, Steven Jackson, being Steven Jackson, started talking trash. And at first, as your owner, you have to be careful as your owner. You don't want to go hard. And I think that Steven Jackson started that scrimmage by saying,
that was the past, this is now, and I will bust yo, you know what. Hey.
And Michael got furious and started trash talking to Steven Jackson. And not only that, he started killing him. It was only at half court. This is a 50, I think it was 50 or 51, killing, all of us during a scrimmage. And talking to Steven Jackson, telling him, how's the leather tasting in your mouth every time he made a shot on his face. I mean, it was incredible, his competitiveness at that age, to the point that he became a one-on-one. So I was like, okay, I'll take Charles Oakley, bigger guy, tough guy. Char and I were just like kind of just watching in the weak side. These two guys go one-on-one, and of course, it did not end up well for Steven Jackson. Michael won the scrimmage. And
he told me about all the championships, everything he's done, sport, points scored, and he reminded me that I was on his team. But he won the trash talking. I think that's the first time in life I ever lost a trash talking match. I honestly went home that night and was hoping I didn't get a call during that night said MJ has released me. Because I did say some things in my trash talking to defend myself.
After that, we call it a day and we just went home. I think that it was good for the team, because after that, we kind of snapped out of the losing streak that we had, and we started, winning games. But it was one of those experiences that I never thought I was going to go through. And Michael was one of those guys that liked to joke around all the time during practice. And, it was great to seeing him out there being active and just kind of seeing what he meant and what he still can do for the game of basketball.
And do you think if you play against some of your guys right now, do you sometimes do that or not? Or could you win on one-on-ones against them? Or?
I'm pretty sure I can, so I don't want to do that and demolish their confidence, so I stay away from them. I let them think they're good. They think that they are good, but I'm too old to do that anyway.
And you played, against MJ and then for MJ, like you mentioned. What's the pressure of playing for him and him being on the end of the bench and kind of critiquing you? Can you hop into that for me?
He's hard as players, yes. I think that it might have been his second year that he took ownership. He was fairly new when he was running the team, but he was really hard on everybody because he should be. I mean, he set the bar so high, and his mentality is that way. So he was hard on us, but at the same time on the opposing team. But it was tough to play for him. But at the same time, when you have the experience, I just can't imagine being a young guy like a Kwame Brown playing along with Michael, or him being on the bench trying to tell you what to do. It was tough for me. But at the same time, having the experience, I really blocked it really well. And, I kind of zoom in, and the most important thing to do the things that the team needed to win the ball game, rather than looking back. And I developed that, and players develop that, because you can't be constantly looking back at the coach or whatever, the fan or whoever is there as an executive telling you and criticizing you. You got to block that out. But as a young player, having that big presence, and he has a big presence, Michael has a big presence. I don't know whether that was positive or negative on the younger players. And I think that Michael Jordan learned as well, because then he started going back to his suite rather than being next to us, screaming at everybody.